Doechii.
Hey, girl.
You know, it's been a little minute since you and I have had a chat.
Has it really?
Probably since, like, your last EP, All the Places You'll Go.
Oh, wow. It's been a minute. Yeah.
I've been getting some calls. People are a little bit worried about you.
Not worried.
And I know that I was kind of that outlet for you, so
You were.
why don't you just tell me what's been going on?
Okay. Remember old dude from 2019? Nice, clean nigga did me dirtier than laundry. Took a scroll through his IG just to get a DM from his wife. I was so confused, what should Doechii do? She didn't know about me and I didn't know about Sue. I opened up the messages and had to hit the Zoom. Turns out the girl was really a dude. Nigga think he slick back till I slip back. Got my lick back, turned a nigga to a knick-knack. I moved on, dropped a couple of songs, and then I went and got signed. Now it's 2021.
Okay, I just feel like this is the perfect opportunity for us to just take a second and kind of unpack what's happened to you. You know, this guy cheated on you and...
Nah, fuck it. Platinum record this, Bible record that. I'm making so much money, I'm all over the net. I'm moving so fast, no time to process. And no, I'm not in the game, but I'm
Give it up
always
for
on
Doechii,
set.
yes!
Watch
Give it
TikTok,
up,
label
okay, you
TikTok.
better get
Now I'm making
it
TikTok
up.
music.
Give it up
What
for
leaves
Doechii,
I
yes,
need a cleanse,
baby.
need a detox.
Doechii, oh
We
my
ain't
God,
got
I
time
must
to
say,
stop.
your
The
song
time's
Alter Ego, girl, that's somebody. I fuck my Alphatetta, girl. But can we please talk about your song, Denial is a River? I mean, come on now. The visuals, the beat, and also the context, aka the words, my girl, mind blown. But, you know, from the major conversation of the music industry to the little argument about your man cheating with another man. I mean, it happens. From the debate about whether you are the female Black Eminem or the quote-unquote next one up, to just sitting down and letting it be known that you are not the next nobody else but the first and only you, Doechii, period. Like, what the fuck? But either way, she is an icon, she is a legend, and she is the moment. Come on now. Yes, Wendy Williams, shout out to you, girl. Native New Yorker. Yes, my girl. But yeah, even that reference statement alone, that has created a lot of conversation. It has caused an argument or two, I think. It definitely has sparked a debate. But before all is said and done, yeah, a sit down will be required to, you know, try to come to an understanding about it, if possible. And with all these conversations and arguments becoming debates and sit downs, all because, you know, people want to be involved in other people's business because they think they're investigative reporters. And then, of course, there's the concept of, you know, dialogue between humans. It's just getting out of control. And frankly, is making me consider taking a vow of silence. Yeah. Let's talk about dialogue, shall we? In every single kind there is. But we got to define it first. Dialogue is defined as a conversation between two or more people, but of course on the flip side, a conversation is a talk, especially an informal one, between two or more people in which news and ideas are exchanged. But before we talk about conversation with other people, I'm gonna start off by saying this. I talk to myself a lot. Damn near all the time, which, you know, yeah, damn near all the time, actually. And before you start judging me, because I can see them side eyes from this video, let me say this, all right? Everybody does it, okay? Granted, the majority of us do it in our heads. You know, it's how we process information, thoughts, feelings, conflicts, memories, etc., etc. It is what it is, okay? Some may do it out loud, even, you know, well, actually, some do it out loud usually when they're angry, but I don't know. Me, however, I do it everywhere and all day long. I don't care, okay? It's my form of therapy. It's my daily check-in with myself. Hell, it's my self-treatment with my other self. And no, I do not have DID, aka dissociative identity disorder, or multiple personality disorder, as they used to call it. No, it's just my personality is like 7 folks, okay? And anyways, I also talk to myself because, no one will listen. I'm sorry, did you say something? Mushu! Yeah, you're a girl again, remember? Shout out to the movie Mulan for that. But, yeah. And also, hell, this show that I'm actually recording and writing and producing all by my goddamn self is more so for me. It's like a conversation with myself and, by extension, the public. Oh, hold on, I'm not getting deep. Anyways, point is, I talk to myself. And that is okay, you know? I think more people should do it. At least then they kind of, you know themselves more. And also, it's good to hear your thoughts out loud since, you know, it may sound one way in your head, but when you vocalize it, oh, child, it's just, that's something completely different. But moving on. Conversations with other people, yeah, that's something. But conversations, yeah, they can range in topic, depth, length, and range in both emotions and forms. Now, the topics, they can go from, the small talk of the weather and mundane, quote-unquote, surface subjects like, gossip, being celebrity, and otherwise to the deep, stimulating conversations like philosophy, psychology, the human condition, where do we go when we die, things like that. Excuse me. Now, depth, that can go from, as something as small as like 5 seconds to 5 minutes to like days on end. And of course, it can range in emotions from happy and jovial to contentious and damn near almost confrontational. And of course, the forms, they can change from, simple conversations themselves. And of course, the complex ones to the crazy ones, be it arguments, the little, the kind of competitive ones like debates, and of course, the resolution ones, of course, sit downs. But we'll talk more about those in depth later on in this episode. We'll get to them, don't worry. But let's focus specifically on the conversation. Now, in my 29 years on this earth physically and 50 mentally, I can honestly say I have had almost every single kind of conversation there is, to the small talks with strangers. I had 2 of them earlier this morning. The deep, stimulating ones you see on NPR and PBS, one of those platforms, whichever. Arguments, be it simple, complicated, classy, and child, to just the quote-unquote, child, the ghetto. The ghetto. Alanini Lee, shout out to you, girl. And of course, I've had the simple ones with the kids, the respectful ones with my parents, managers, and elders to some extent, because, don't forget, just because you live a long life don't mean it can't come to a short end. Please remember that, because I've never been the 1, 2, 3 other goddamn 4. And then, of course, there are the unspoken ones. Oh, how can I forget? Not to mention the ones in a foreign language. I cannot forget that. Now, all these can be had with others, in a majority of cases with others. Or, if you're like me, by yourself. It can be done. But I digress. Conversations, baby, they're a part of life as a human. Animals, I'm not sure if they have a language of their own that is as complicated as ours, but if Animal Planet, National Geographic, and the Discovery Channel are any indication, I don't think so, but we'll talk more about them in an episode later on in this session. I promise you, girl. But anyways, let's get back to humans and their conversations. But where do we begin with the conversation? Oh, yes. Hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Oh, good. And sing. Now, the conversation can end right there, but depending on who you are and what you're talking about and or who you're talking to, they may actually ask you that same question back, or they may just go on to another topic or stop the conversation right together and move on to something or someone else who's better to talk to or talk about. In my case, the latter usually happens to me, but, I will say, from my part, I always ask the other person how they are doing. Okay, even if they don't respond back, because that's just who I am. And also, there's that aspect, I do not initiate conversations. I just don't. I am extremely introverted, and also I'm extremely detached from life. I'm an alien, okay? I'm just over here watching humans just do what they do, and I'm just waiting for God to just call my number so I can just go ahead and move on to something else. It's for another episode and another session down the line. I'm telling you, we will talk about that. But let's keep on the subject of conversations. Anyways, what I just described before, now that's a simple conversation, okay? Now, a conversation can become more complex if more context is provided. For example, hey, how you doing? I'm good, how are you? Yeah, I'm not doing too well today. Why? Oh, my twin brother passed away. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. How? Thank you, and such and such and such. And then, of course, the person would inquire, how they passed on, and then the convo would continue on from there. And then maybe, possibly, if the conversation between you and that person does end there, next time they see you, they might actually, when they ask how you are, they might actually just, they might follow it up with, how you're holding up, how you doing, are you okay? Things like that. And in some cases, they might even, confide in you about a death that they've actually experienced in their life to, comfort you. And then the conversation may get deeper and last a little longer. And then from there, possibly a relationship/friendship may start to form as a result of said conversation with said person. You never know. Of course, on the flip side, 1 or 2 conversations does not a friendship make. Okay, y'all could just I could just end up being acquaintances where y'all just talk every now and again, keeping the convos very light, simple, surface based, or just have a whole high and by sort of thing. Or even just a nod or wave, acknowledging their presence. And again, in my life, the latter is what happens to me. What I'm more accustomed to experience, or at least that's what I'm more accustomed to experiencing, and I love it. Listen, the less people I have to talk to, the happier I am. Okay, I'm so antisocial. Wait, am I antisocial or do I have avoidant attachment style? Child, who knows? But if there's one thing I know in all conversations is that what you say and how you say it, child, both of those could be true. But I will say, how you say it definitely matters a lot more in more ways. But hey, I will say this, look, humans are confusing, okay? And if you take anything from this, humans are confusing when they talk. They just are, okay? And this can also apply to foreign language. Just too, and God, where do I start with them? From this different speed to the different goddamn rules, the sound effects. I mean, I'm Caribbean, I know, of course. And of course, the mixing of languages, not only that, but of dialects too. Of course, child, please. Different words definitely do have different meanings, okay, for different folks. But for more on that, please, I have 2 episodes to provide for that. I have one in my first session, episode 17, Say What? And of course, in my redo session, episode 6, The Word of the Day is. But on the topic of my, unfortunately, native language, which is English, different accents can affect the conversation since it can be either too heavy to understand or they use too many old sayings / slang that you aren't familiar with. And there is a language barrier that can be formed within a shared languages. What happened? But also that can happen in other languages too. I mean, in my native Haiti, Shelly, I mean, Creole na Port-au-Prince, puis Creole na Cap. Chérie, ça c'est yo bagay différent. Got do ça clair. Sans cacher, oui. You don't believe me? Go on the internet and look that shit up, okay? But who speaks the true Creole? Child, we will never know. I mean, I still want to say it's the old folks, but whatever. On soit des personnages comme nous. C'est eux même qui parlent bon Creole, la Creole rec là, oui. Mais en avance. Talk about Big Muñoz. Happy, oh my gosh. And all this is just spoken dialogue conversations. Written, child, I don't know, from text language to abbreviations and spell checks / autocorrect. Oh my gosh. And screenshots. My God, today. And then, of course, the voice note them. Jesus Christ. When I say Jamaicans, my Jamaican nationals, and una voice note them. Jesus Christ. When I say my dead with laughter. My God. I'm weak until I have to send myself to the hospital because my lungs are gonna lock off, cut off my breaths. I can't breathe, and them something there from Uno. Like, Jesus Christ. We'll move on now because Jesus Christ, I'm tired. My God, but let's go on. Let's move on, shall we? Okay. Those are just the spoken ones, or should I say the written ones. Then there are the unspoken conversations, because yes, you could have a whole conversation without anything being said. I don't know, okay? Once I was on my way home from work, a man with a beard, a little older, he boarded the train. He sat down right across from me. I was standing by the door watching my basketball ass foolishness. He looked me in my eyes. He winked at me. I smiled. I was ignoring it. Our eyes didn't meet a few times. As 3 stops were passing by, a gesture or 2 was made. The man stopped. He finally, it reached, and then he walked past me, made another little gesture. But before I can even blink, I found myself being dry humped through my clothes and mask. Yes, this was happening during Corona times, along a staircase wall at the 14th Street stop. Oh, maybe not give away too much of it. My life, my life, my life, my life, and the sunshine. If you look at my life and see what I see. La da 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 da. I am a fucking fool. You hear me? But shout out to Mary J. Blige for that. Woo! Anyways, Baby, as you can see, conversations can vary, but they can also go from right to left and just turn confrontational. And with that, we move on to arguments. Now, arguments are an exchange of diverging or opposing views, or opposite views, I should say, typically in a heated or angry kind of view and or light. Now, what can cause an argument? Well, I'd say anything these days, but the common suspects are triggers, be it psychological via social evaluation, like, if I say or do this, then what'll happen? There's also the personal identity threats, competence, if I fail, does that mean I'm not capable? Or autonomy, do I have any say in the decisions that affect me? There's the purpose ones of, does what I do even matter? And of course, the value of, are my beliefs being challenged / bruised? And of course, the physical, getting in somebody's face or putting your fingers in somebody else, which the last trigger, the physical, depending on the person, that can lead to a verbal altercation, aka an argument turning into a physical altercation, be it a fight. But trust me, we'll go in depth on that one in another episode next session. Not this one. What? I gotta give y'all something. I gotta save something, don't I? Okay. Anyways, to briefly touch on that, an argument can go left or turn physical by feeling threatened, getting defensive, and or launching personal attacks, or simply by engaging in physical contact, i.e. a push, slash, or shove, or in some cases, throwing items in people's faces. I love in hip hop. It's always a drink or a bag, I don't know, something. But baby, arguments, they can also arise from a lack of awareness, self-awareness, and or understanding. And to illustrate all this in action, I got a story for y'all. So me and my mother, we were on the phone. We once got into it because when she was coming to visit me in NYC with my siblings, she told me to get yourself ready. The phrase was fine, but it was most of the tone that she used that made me feel like it was in order. And it kind of took me back to when I was 8 years old and when I was 23 at the time. She said, she was joking, but I didn't exactly take it that way. And as I was trying to explain how I felt to her, she just disregarded and acted like, I was just being theatrical and dramatic. And you're just doing the most. Now that statement for me, that's a trigger because, I don't like when people don't take my feelings into consideration. So when she said that, I felt my heart racing, I felt my blood boiling, and I knew if this conversation kept going the way it was, child, I was either going to go off on her and start using all kinds of colorful language, or just, obviously either going to curse her out, we're going to start yelling, or me did I go down there, me did I go down my mother, you see, because, so they had the Caribbean accent. It's like, child. It's like I knew I was either gonna go Jamaican or Haitian, but more so go Jamaican pan her, just I can patois to her because say that I'll that go bun her up. But hey, I digress. So to avoid all that, I decided to hang up on her right then and there. And after that, we didn't speak for the whole summer. What? It was for the boys, okay? But the argument showed a lack of understanding on both of our parts. Her for not seeing my point of view, and me for taking what she said too personal, a trigger on my part. All right, in this case, value, but was. And then, of course, there was the impasse of where does the conversation go from now? Does it go right or does it go left? I decided, however, to walk away or to hang up to prevent me saying something that I can never come back from. But not everyone is me, okay? Me personally, I'd rather walk away than get into a full-blown argument with somebody. Unless it is, actually necessary, which, again, is rare. Okay, in most of my arguments, I either hung up the phone or walked away since it wasn't worth it. And also, I don't always need to be right. For others, child, they won't rest until they have won, which takes us to debates. Now, debates are formal discussions on a particular topic in a public meeting and or legislative assembly in which opposing arguments are put forward. Now, debates are arguments too, but they have some form of structure and are generally more civil and calm. Not to say there aren't any tense or heated moments. I mean, watch any legislative debate in whichever country you live in, okay? You will see name calling, aka Miss Jasmine Crockett, girl, shout out to you, calling out Marjorie Taylor Greene, aka, what did you say? Oh, yeah. Bleach blonde, badly built, butch body. Girl, you don't mess with children from Texas. You just don't do it, all right? And then of course, there has been fist throwing in my country of Haiti, which shout out to y'all. And then of course there's just been full-on brawls between everybody. I mean, take Taiwan, Turkey, and of course Serbia. Oh yeah, y'all went a little farther. Y'all kind of had smoke grenades and all. It looked like a full-on goddamn fucking rave going on, but I guess what my great Haitian comedian sister, God bien-aimée, Sally t'a dit, c'est vrai, fait politique, dans n'importe Haïti, also dans n'importe pays, je dois dire, when dois dire, yeah, it's, son cause gourmet vrai. Pas Child, please, to do politics in any country, it really is a reason to fight. Hey, believe what you want to see, don't believe what you want to see. All else. It is what it is. My gosh, I can't. But generally, debates are about exchanging ideas and trying to, come to some sort of compromise, middle ground. Resolution. We need a resolution. We need a resolution. Aliyah, shout out to you. Yes, Sister Aliyah, shout out to you. We miss you. Now, debates can happen between 2, 3, 4, or more people. And this you can see on the radio between the host and the guest, but more so nowadays on podcasts, which, on that note, let's talk about podcasts, okay? Because, but let's be real about it. Podcasts, they're just digital radio shows, okay? And like the 90s where everyone had a talk show or was in a goddamn musical group, now, currently in the 2020s or 2025, everybody and their mama has a podcast, okay? Everybody and their mama has a podcast, okay? Now, what the hell's the point of podcast? I personally have no goddamn idea. I just don't, okay? Because everybody is just saying any and everything, okay? It is just ridiculous, and it's just... okay? It's too much. It's too much, okay? And me personally, it's only 2 podcasts I can really listen to. Okay, you have No Ended or Nanda by Rushcam, which shout out to you, and of course, the Reliving Single podcast show. Yes, my girls, Alex, Erica, Alexander, and of course, Kim Coles. Yes, Sinclair and Max. Yes, shout out to you, ladies. Love y'all. Okay, but it's mostly entertainment. Entertainment, education, and everything in between. Big up you, Rush Cam. Big up you, Rush and Campbell. But yes, let's get back to argument slash debate, shall we? But now, there is a question that needs to be asked. To win a debate slash argument, is it worth it? Well, I would argue not really, as you could win, yes, and you may gain a quick ego boost and even a fleeting sense of triumph, but you may lose respect and trust of the person you had said argument slash debate with, or you may even lose specifically the overall point. Also, you may gain stress, unnecessarily overexert energy, or just lose energy over it being crazily overexerted, so to speak. And also, you may have a possible recurring problem and or issue with another person, aka an enemy, or friction or tension with another person as a result. It's really worth it? No. Now, can you avoid an argument? No. Even if, like me, you try to rehearse conversations you're going to have with someone, you don't know what can happen when the time comes to have a conversation with that person arises. You don't know. However, what you can do is try to diffuse the argument by either walking away, finding some sort of mutual understanding, or just reaching an impasse. But to fight or flight, or to rest or digest, that is the interesting thing. But I will say, the former, that can heat up a conversation, but the latter, it can cool down a conversation. Take me your father, so to speak. We had somewhat of an issue, but we're both the same person, so we kind of just gave each other silent treatment for 2 weeks. But then, 2 weeks later, we had a conversation, and we're back to normal now. And it's not that, we hate each other, we just didn't want to speak. It's just that we needed time to rest, digest, and kind of just come back together when cooler heads prevail, and things work out that way. Simple as that. Okay? Now, the term, but eventually, after cool heads prevail, you could actually have a sit down, okay? Now, a sit down is a formal meeting where conflicts can be resolved and deals can be made, okay? Now, the term does come from the organized crime world where two bosses would come together, to settle some disputes or make a deal or whatever. But it can relate to any two people sitting down to where a conversation can be had to hash out any issues that may exist. Now, depending on who is present in sit down and or where the conversation goes, it can, either end good, where the people can compromise and even, become friends again. Or it can go bad where nothing is resolved, or hell, the conversation can turn into a physical altercation. For example, child watch or I should say, for examples, you can watch any variation of Basketball Wives, Mob Wives, or The Real Housewives of which name a place, hell. And if there's one thing I know, females definitely can drag on an argument. And on that note, who argues more, men or women? Yeah, I gotta say the females, yeah, they definitely take that. But men, they definitely fight more. Way more. I mean, shoot. Mes amis. Whew, boy. Talk about. Cannot, okay? Okay, I just cannot, okay? But I can say, I can talk, can I? Well, that's a gift of God for you, but I will say, yeah, that's all I got. Okay, the conversation's over. What? I ain't got nothing else, but before I go, a few things. Number one. But before I go converse, argue, debate, or sit down with somebody else or my goddamn self, a few things. Number one, your next conversation can change a thing about a situation with another. It just can. Number two, arguments can oftentimes be used to illustrate underlying issues that someone may be having, aka redirect feelings that they can't exactly give the unintended target or the intended target, so to speak, person. Number three, the person who you see isn't necessarily the person you're talking to. And shout out to the book The Next Conversation by Jefferson Fisher for that quote, because that shit really does have some deep meaning to it. And number four, most importantly, if you don't remember anything from this episode, remember this. What you say and how you say it can cause any dialogue, be it conversations, debates, arguments, and sit-down, separately and together. And number five, the last point I gotta make. A sit-down is best had after some time apart. The rest I suggest method. And with you and that person alone, okay? Or at least the one that you had said conflict with, okay? IJS, I'm just saying. Whew.
That's my fault now. Bitch, you power tripping or guilt tripping. I held your ass down.
You just cut me down. That's a big difference. Stressing myself, trying to figure why I'm not good enough. Going to church, praying for you, searching for good in us. Little dick ass nigga that's trying to go big.
But you were sucking his dick though.
Well, shit, I should've sucked his.
What you say?
I should've found a bigger dick.
Bitch, get the fuck out my face.
Oh, what, you mad?
Shut up, bitch. You got me fucked up today on God.
You mad? Little feelings is shot. Go text that raggedy bitch and tell her you all that she got. Let her know you packing your shit and gotta move by the first.
Man, give me these fucking keys.
Give me my keys, I'ma be late for work.
Fuck your job. Today gon' be the day you walk to that bitch.
Give me my fucking keys.
Nah, I like you parked in that bitch.
Give me my keys, bro.
Oh God, you ain't getting these keys.
Give me my fucking keys.
Now you mad at me. I got you hollering for nothing.
I do the same when we fucking.
Act like that pussy ain't loose.
I'd rather act like I'm coming.
I'd rather fuck off the juice.
I'd rather fuck on your cousin.
Bitch, you said you gon' fuck who?
You heard me, nigga. It's nothing.
You know what?